Welcome to KQEG and Seven River Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, fitness. You're going to love the show the first time ever. We will profile Crosse Central Logan Snowboard with two great athletes from Central, even though it's a Central Logan team. Chase Leuenberger and Brian Poff. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
A lot of people ask me, like, Terry, why don't you just stretch and talk about other sports, not just basketball, football? So that's why you're here. Anyway, I've followed you, both of you, when you were younger, know your families, and read about you in the paper, saw you on TV. You part of a Central Logan snowboard team. 10 years they've had it now, and 4 years in a row state champs. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Chase, how did you start your getting into snowboarding?
I guess I just started when my parents bought me a snowboard in like 5th grade, and I absolutely hated it. And because I never could get out and like really get the hang of it. And one year a friend of mine asked me to come out to the hill, and I just came out when I was in 6th grade, I think.
And that's how it all began?
Yeah, just one person told me I should come out.
So you hated it, and all of a sudden now we're going to talk about how tremendous elite athlete you have grown to be. So you made a drastic change from hating it now to loving it.
Yeah.
And that's because of your success, and perhaps because you became gifted with snowboarding. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, that'd be an exact way to put it. I love it so much.
And Brian, too, knowing you, your family, knowing you as a baseball player, playing with our grandson, an excellent baseball player, didn't really know you were a snowboarder until I read about you in the paper. So when did that begin?
Well, it started, I think, about 8 years now. And I first started in the yard, and then I went to the hill for the first time, and my parents got me got a rental set up and stuff, and then I liked it just from the start. I had a lot of fun, and then it just progressed from there, and now I just do it pretty much every day in the winter. So.
And we talked before we went on there a little bit about it's for many people it's a year-round sport. I've read articles about dry land training and how people are so committed to it and it becomes their only sport. And so do you work on it year-round too, Brian?
I wouldn't say fully year-round, but like in the fall before the season we start dry land training and train then, and I'm always doing stuff that benefits and helps. And then I also kiteboard and do stuff on the water, which transfers over and helps.
It sure does. So. Now, I know, Chase, I've watched you play football. You're an excellent baseball player. Now you're just sort of focusing on snowboarding. But talk about how you have become so elite, and you're going to be in the Nationals. We're going to talk about that. And what are the things you've done to get yourself to this level in terms of training?
One thing is probably the coaches. They have always just been there kind of pushing us, especially Bill, even on the days that we want to just take park laps and do tricks and goof around. And then I'd say the equipment now, like the snowboards and everything is just so much more advanced than it was a few years ago, at least for our general area, that now it's just a total different sport. It's just so much more advanced and faster and more on edge.
I talked to your coach, Bill Patza, just yesterday. Of course, as we tape the show here on March 7th, it'll play back a little later, but your season just ended, and I talked to your coach, who was on his way to coach the Nationals out east, and caught him just before he left. He told me that you are one of the most talented athletes he has ever had, and he's coached for 30 years skiing and snowboarding. So that's a pretty big compliment.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that Bill's done. He was my dad's ski coach when my dad was on the high school racing team, and now he's my coach, and I'm a snowboarder on the total other side of the spectrum, and I just appreciate everything that Bill's done. He's been there pushing our whole team and all the riders to just get better every year.
So, speaking of your family, of course, knowing your mom and dad like I do, I know that they are pretty proud of your accomplishments. I've seen them at other events, too, when you've played in other sports, baseball, football. So, how important is that to have parents that are behind you and explain that culture and that feeling?
It totally changes the sport because having people behind you, and it's a team sport, but also an individual. So there's individual rankings and then as a team. So by having my parents behind me, and it feels like kind of your own team, you have a little support group, and they've always just kind of backed what I've wanted to do and helped me chase my dreams. And instead of just kind of pushing it to the side and telling me that I'm going to do this, they let me pursue what I love and became successul in it.
It's certainly connected to the school. And again, it's Central Logan co-op team. And how about in the sports of, say, baseball, basketball, football, softball? Of course, yours is a team and individual sport, too, similar to tennis, cross country, and so on. But how's the acceptance at the high school level?
It is awesome. Our team is just a giant group of friends. We are all just super great friends, and then even like the people who just come in, like the freshmen who are just learning how to snowboard race, they're 100% embraced, and it turns from us being racers to us being coaches to helping them to get faster, which is another reason why Central's won state so many years in a row. Well, Central Logan.
Yeah, and you've won the individual championship too.
Yeah, I did this past year.
Yeah, so that's quite an accomplishment, and it was good coverage in the media. Well, Brian, your family is very supportive of everything you do, and of course your sister too. And I see them at all the events, and they're part of your inspirational team.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to, when you're up in the gates, knowing you have your family and people out supporting you, watching you, going for you. It's a good feeling. And
of course, being a student is part of this, student athlete. And I know you were recognized. You were athlete of the month, and you grade point averages above 3 points. So you work hard in the classroom too. How do you balance all of that?
You just try and get your work done before or after you go to the hill, and get that stuff done, and then you can go train and have fun.
Typical class schedule for you, are you taking a lot of AP classes?
I'm not in that many AP classes, but I have a full schedule through the day. I doubled up in math this year, so it's a busy day.
Math? So math is your favorite subject?
Not my favorite subject, but I don't mind it.
Favorite subject?
I like science.
Favorite teacher?
Oh, that's tough. My favorite teacher right now would probably be Mr. Lashesky.
Okay.
He teaches history.
Good. And I know you're somewhat of a part-time student now, Chase, because you've fulfilled your credits and so on. But let's go back to your days as a full-time student. Was that something that you embraced, like you do the sport of snowboarding?
I definitely was full-time student first, then an athlete, just because school is so important, especially to me and my parents. And going to college and just being school first and then sports was amazing that my parents pushed me to be like that, because then it just made me a better person, learned more, just kind of became more in with the school and friends and people, and it just helped me out all around.
Well, let's just kind of, the next chapter of your life, Chase, begins not too long. You graduate shortly, and then you're going to move on to college and so on. Where are we going to find you in the next few years?
My first semester, I believe I'm going to Stevens Point, but I will also be snowboard racing for NORAMs I'll do a few events in the U.S. and then a few in Canada if I will get up there, but they are just national ranking races at this point. But I'm going to pursue college and also snowboarding.
And I know we talked a little bit before we went on the air. Your coach, Bill Patz, is talking about your future is just unlimited, and you're going to be in next month. You're going to Copper Mountain.
Yeah, I'll go to Copper Mountain for my age bracket nationals this year, and then we'll see where that ends up. I'm super excited to see all the different competitors and kind of where I rank up to everyone else.
Well, you've obviously studied a little bit of your competition. Where do you rank? What are you expecting from yourself?
I'm hoping for a top 10. I was told by some people that they believe I can. I was also told it would be really hard to make podium for myself, so I've been training as hard as I can these past couple weeks to make that podium because I was told I couldn't. So now I'm on that
that's your
drive to
inspiration.
win. Yeah.
So that takes place over several days?
It is I'll be there for a week, but there's 1 day of training and then 3 days of events. So each day will be its own event, and I believe you get 2 runs in each event.
So we'll be interested in, I hope the media covers that. We'll certainly keep our viewers up to date on how you did, so that will be an exciting trip. Your family going with you too?
Yeah, my mom and my dad, and a good friend of mine from Slinger, Wisconsin.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, I've been out in that area a few times, and it's beautiful, as you probably well know. You've been out there too, I imagine.
I haven't, actually. I've just been homegrown snowboarding around
Okay.
here.
All right, we're going to step aside just for a minute. We come back more as we profile the sport of snowboarding here in the Midwest. We'll be right back.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team.
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Well, today we're profiling Chase Leuenberger and Brian Poff, two elite snowboarders here for the Central Logan High School team. As we tape the show, the team just finished winning their 4th straight state championship, so that's quite an honor. When we left to take the break, we were talking a little bit about some of the overall the sport, but I did a little research, and I know the sport began in 1998 as an Olympic sport. I watched a little bit of it in South Korea, which the United States dominated, winning 7 out of 30 golds, and watched some of the how the description a little bit, and watched the particular sport as they began the race and how they finished and so on. And there's a lot of intricacies in how you negotiate, navigate down. Describe the skill and what you need, starting with you, Brian, being a snowboarder.
Well, starting with GS, the gates are a little bit more spread out, bigger turns, faster course. So you definitely, when you're navigating down the course, you want to always keeping your high line, not getting really low, so you're making your turn before you get to the gate, making sure you can get around all the gates in the course.
And what's the distance?
Do you know the distance?
I have no idea what the distance is.
So how long does it take you to get down from start to finish?
Well, I'd say from the top of...
From the full run at state, it was around like 17, like the fastest time. Chase, you had a 17?
Yeah, right now.
It was like 17 to 20 seconds, where it's like good fast times.
Okay. And the best teams, individuals that you faced, what area were they from?
The best teams or the best individuals?
Both.
I'd say the best team would probably be West Bend.
Yep.
They came and they were doing pretty
West
good.
Bend, yeah.
And then individuals, I didn't personally know anyone there besides
Our
Cole
team.
Rummel.
Yeah, Cole Rummel.
Was a
And
good competitor.
So there's some challenging athletes there too.
Yeah.
I know there's divisions: snowboard slalom, giant slalom, and border cross. Let's start with the snowboard slalom. Explain that, Chase.
So slalom is a tighter course with more turns, where instead of being high speed, it's more technical and more rider induced, I'll say, just because the rider has to take full control. They can't just kind of go where they want. They have to be right on top of everything all the time. You have to be ahead of each gate and seeing 3 gates ahead, so you're planning where you're going to go before you're even there.
And the second one, the giant slalom, Brian?
Giant slalom, like I said, bigger, wider gates, faster. So you just gotta keep your high line, and it's definitely a lot more intense.
And the border cross, a different terrain, jumps, obstacles, challenges, highly difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And explain that to us, please.
The border cross is a Super G for snowboards. So a Super G is a skiing event. It is a high-speed skiing event, not as many turns, as fast as you can get down the hill as possible. It is in any race. This is a snowboarder Super G where there are berms, which are wall rides. There are rollers, which are
Jumps.
things that are like jumps, and you have to roll over them. But you have to do this in a manner that you can't slow down and prepare for it. You have to go full speed into any obstacle that is there at any cost to win, to go as fast as possible. And it is an awesome event.
So all those divisions out in Copper Mountain too?
Yeah,
And you're going to be competing in?
all three.
You are. Good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I read an article that the injury rate for snowboarders is much more significant than skiers. And have you experienced any of that, either one of you?
I personally have not had any injuries, knock on wood, but I'm a lucky guy.
I
I've never had
have.
any.
I definitely have. Last year I sprained my MCL really bad, just riding around, and then the year before that I herniated a disc in my back, and that was almost a season output, but I raced at state with both of those injuries each year, just because I love the sport.
You know, we talked a little bit about the culture in the first part of the show, and I know the culture of snowboarders and skiers, there was a huge disconnect and division and jealousy, and the skiers did not accept the snowboarders throughout the country initially, and now it's kind of changed. And talking to your coach, he said there was some of those issues early on, but now the skiers have really begun to appreciate and embrace and understand, and those athletes get along much better. Can you explain that culture? And
I'd just say that it went always from skiing being this really big sport with everybody, and snowboarding just being thrasher snowboarders just kind of doing whatever they want. But now it's turned from that to everybody just kind of being on the same hill, riding the same snow, being around each other so much that we're all good friends. We're all there to compete and win, but we're also all there to have a good time and be friends and really get to know each other. And we're out there every day, all winter long together.
Good. And Brian, take us through the takeoff and the spin and the balance and the impact and the landing and all that stuff.
Well, definitely, like on border cross, there's a lot of that. Like you can get thrown off balance, and you got to really be able to bring yourself back in, and just the start helps a lot too, especially in that race, because if you get a slow, bad start, you know, it's going to affect your time. It's just important to always be, you know, agile on the course and ready to adjust for whatever happens.
And of course, Chase was nice enough to bring a pretty sophisticated piece of equipment behind us as your personal snowboard equipment. And I imagine, just like any other sports, they're always upgraded, and there's new technology and so on. And how important is that? Explain some of, if for the people that would like to try snowboarding, what would they do in terms of equipment? How would they begin?
Okay, so a beginner snowboard, like what my parents did, was they just bought me a random snowboard I played against sports. And it's just, beginning snowboarding is just getting out there and trying to learn. Because without that little effort, you're going to go absolutely nowhere at the sport of snowboarding. Just getting out there will teach you how to snowboard. Just by getting on the slopes and continuing to try and just get better is the way that I learned, and the way that I know a lot of people have learned. Not being instructed, but just by self-learning and just continuing to ride and just love it.
I know, Brian, you've probably spent a lot of time looking for the right equipment too.
I have, yes. So the new thing this year was Donics, and that's what Chase, and I don't have one, but the Donic snowboards are fast. They're the top of the edge equipment, you know.
So if you get one like Chase, you can probably break his record next year. How's that?
Yeah, you know, but they are new cutting edge technology, and they perform. They really perform nice.
Just like in any other sport, the mental aspect of being a competitive champion snowboarder. Talk about your mental approach, Chase.
My mental approach is, I'd just say, freak out at the top before I go down. My mental approach is so absolutely everywhere. I have to listen to music before I race because I get so stressed out. that before I go down, I can't even talk to people because I get so nervous and so worried about each and every run, any race. I'm just blasting music until I have to go, and then I turn it off, and then I just go and ride.
So you are, I've met the enemy, and the enemy is me. In other words, you're hard on yourself, and you're looking for perfection, and you're not going to accept anything else?
Mm-hmm. I just am there to go as fast as I possibly can and do the best I can.
And your coach said you were selected MVP too?
I haven't heard of that, but now I am.
And give you a little bit of a heads up. So, and you had a great deal of success. And Brian too. I know mentally everybody has a routine, and I assume you did when you played baseball for the club. And talk about how you prepare yourself mentally.
Well, before, I mean, I always like to just, stay loose. It seems like you're always waiting. There's always a ton of time before you run. You're sitting there waiting for him to get everything, for people to go. So you got to definitely be able to stay calm. I'm always, trying to take deep breaths, do stuff, just like talk to people, and just stay calm before my run, and keep loose too. I like to, kind of run up and down a little bit, stay loose.
So are you as nervous, uptight, and apprehensive as Chase is?
I wouldn't say, probably not that much, but I definitely am nervous before the run, but like as soon as I get out of the gates, it all just goes away, and you just kind of forget about it. But
well, you're only a sophomore. Goals for you for the next couple of years?
Definitely. Well, I want the team title again, and then individually on podium, is the goal. So top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
something tells me you'll achieve that too. Mm-hmm. Because why does this area why do we have so much success in this area compared to other parts of the state?
Well, it is our home hill, so we do get to ride. We know the hills very well, and then we're just, I don't know, we're all out there. We got the natural talent.
Yeah, you do, absolutely. And Chase,
there every day.
Your goal is to be a professional snowboarder?
Yeah.
How hard is that?
I have no idea. I haven't achieved it yet.
I mean, how hard is that? Is it very competitive to be able to have to do that?
I am 100% running on a string here and have no idea, just because I haven't gotten to face the professional world yet. I haven't seen the way other people ride. I haven't gotten to experience how fast other people are in person. On the internet, I can just see a person go, oh, and they beat them by a second. Well, that means nothing to me because they could have beat me by 10 seconds, and I'd have no idea. So now I'm running into next year hoping to be somewhere competitive. Well,
you might see some of those elite snowboard athletes when you get to Copper Mountain, and I imagine just like other professional sports, individual at least, sponsorship goes along with it, and that is part of your journey to become a professional. So, well, this has been enlightening for me and hopefully for our viewers, learning about and appreciating the athleticism in the sport of snowboarding. So we want to thank you for being on the show. Chase Leuenberger, a senior, Brian Poff, a sophomore, Central Logan ski team, 4 years in a row, state champs, team champs, and we hope you enjoyed the show.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
All right, we'll be back with some closing thoughts and some film clips right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. I hope you enjoyed the interview today, the profile on the sport of snowboarding. Very popular in the area, a lot of success here in high school snowboarding and skiing. Guests were Chase Leuenberger and Brian Poff. Well, even though it's spring now, still glad you were able to watch the show because some pretty elite athletes. We're planning our baseball schedule now. Hope you can continue to join us as we bring you some key games throughout the spring season here on KQEG. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.